Musselman, gone. Don't worry, guys. We're getting Chris Beard. Oh, wait. No, we're not. We're getting punked by Ole Miss. Just like we did when we were like, hey, we're going to get Lane Kiffin, right? And Ole Miss said, no, we are. And that's how that's going. And Arkansas is in the midst of a coaching search. So, surprise, surprise, we're going to do this episode. We'll probably do a couple episodes in the offseason now that this has transpired. We'll do this one. We'll do another show when they find somebody, I'm sure. And then we'll probably do another one once we have some players. The problem with the Arkansas job right now is that they don't have a basketball team to coach. So this is we have two guys on scholarship. I'm not convinced that either of those two guys are playing at Arkansas next year. Those two guys being Tremont Mark and Trevin Brazil. We have two freshmen coming in. One of them, I'm almost positive, is not going to come here. He hadn't said that, but where is he from? Southern California. I doubt he's coming to Arkansas now. I'm guessing he's going across the street to USC. So I don't know. It's a freaking mess. Some people love coaching searches and stuff, and like I get it. Like it's like they like the speculation. I freaking hate it, dude. I don't like it.
Who likes it?
Oh, dude, people that just want to like throw insane information out there and act like I have a source. Someone told me something. Dude, I have no sources. Okay. But I've got a good gut. Got a good gut instinct. And maybe we could start with this. We won't go on this for a long time. Before we get into the coaching search and what kind of coach we would like and who some of the names are. Musselman, after 5 seasons, gone. Does it seem like it's a secret now that he wanted to leave and was looking to leave? This was there's a number of different jobs that he would have taken to get out of here. And not because I don't think his Arkansas was a bad place or anything, but I don't know if he ever like really was a guy that was going to stay here long term. USC is not a better basketball job than Arkansas. Nobody thinks that. Listen to any you don't forget what local guys say and they're biased. Listen to any national guy talk about it. They'll all tell you USC is not a better basketball job than Arkansas. It's not even a lateral move. It's not as good a job. But it's home from us, and like it's in his mind. I think it's probably more. I don't know if it's his dream job, but it's closer to it. And I heard one guy say, "This is funny." He's like, "Look, man, if there was ever 48 hours where Musk wasn't working, he was in California."
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like out hiking, in Ponca or something, dude. If he had like any break, he is out in California. And by the way, that's fine. Like, I mean, like home is wherever home is for you. And so I get it. That's fine. And so he went home. And doesn't seem like him and Hunter left on the greatest terms. Seems like Hunter might have been unhappy with probably and in his defense, unhappy because he heard his coach was like sending out feelers with games left to be played. Was like trying to figure out if there was a way out. I don't think AD's like that, and so there's a lot of reason for you could be like really irritated at Muss and not like the way he left and how that was handled, or be super annoyed with Hunter and how he handled it. Um, but at the end of the day, I think besides having no players, uh, I think overall, Muss left the Razorbacks in a better place than when he found it. Um, he didn't leave us with a team, but he left the program in a better place as far as some people have called it this. And Nolan Richardson famously said that Arkansas is a sleeping giant. It just takes the right guy. And and Muss was that for 4 of those 5 years. and really did show other coaches what you can do at Arkansas and what that fan base is like and what is possible.
Yeah, I mean, whenever a coach leaves, I guess it's there's always some disappointment when you have a good coach leave, and it's partially because generally it does feel like a referendum on your school because you're always hoping whenever a coach comes, everybody's hoping it's Mike Krzyzewski. You know what I mean? Everyone's hoping it's going to be the Gonzaga. It's like a guy, you're going to get this guy. He's going to be here for 20 years. He's going to be an institution in your school, and he's going to have an overall great record and get you to a couple of, Elite Eights or whatever. Like you're hoping it's going to be that. I mean, obviously, that's what you hope for with the football coach, is what you hope for with the basketball coach. And, generally it doesn't work out. I mean, in a weird way, it's better to have it be this way than what's been happening with the football team. You know what I mean? Like, or with the basketball team before Muss. I mean, it sucks, but really, since Petrino, we haven't been in this position at Arkansas where you've had a coach that is highly desired by other similarly positioned programs. And we've just been in the position where we're like, oh my gosh, okay, I guess we got to pay to get rid of this guy, and then pay
Yeah,
some. We're
yeah,
paying three coaches at a time.
yeah.
So
You're
in a
it's better
weird
it's
way,
better to it's better to have your coach leave than to have to fire him.
yeah, because it's, I mean, but it does hurt in a different way for people if you're somebody who wants to take it personally. And to just round that
Is
out,
it
like,
because you discovered that Muss doesn't love the Razorbacks the way you love the Razorbacks, and you like wanted to believe that maybe he could love them the way that you do, but then you realize, oh wait, you'll never love it the way I love it.
well, there's a couple of things. I mean, there's one. I actually did think that, and I think some to do a quick psychoanalysis. I mean, some people are. I think there's Hog fans that are irrationally upset and act like it's like some great betrayal and like they've never quit a job for a better job. You know what I mean? Like anybody
Not
who's
not a
at
better not a
all
better not a better job, but
okay, well, a more desirable job to
for
to
him,
to do what
to him, yeah.
well, that's what I mean. Like for the individual, obviously, he thinks it's a better job. I mean, you know what I mean? Obviously, this is a marketplace and it is subjective. Although, I mean, I agree with you. Like fan base wise, you can look at the numbers. We have better attendance and stuff, and there's way more competition. And
And we
if
have a
you want
better
to take into
basketball.
it,
We have a way better basketball history.
yeah, they got the. I mean, they're a football. He went to a football school. The basketball, that's an LA. That's a Lakers town. All that stuff. However, if you're somebody who really, really loves to surf, that's a way better. I mean, honestly, and like some people, that's a passion. And if it is, it's like you're willing to be at that program. And if you're someone from California, USC, to me, USC ain't anything. But you go to Southern California, they all wear those colors. They think it's badass. You know what I mean? They love that. So it has a totally different mystique for somebody who was born and raised in California. And so all that to say, anybody who's had to go into a boss and tell them, hey, I'm quitting, especially one that likes you and appreciates you, and be like, I'm quitting, especially if you're quitting to go somewhere else that's similar in your field. It's always awkward and it's always hard, and you're just doing it to improve your life. So I do think there's an irrational way to be upset at Musk, but I do think there's a fair way for people to feel hurt. And it's the fact that in the simplest, there's the one way, which is if you realize when you start to see him on the airplane doing the USC things, and you remember him doing the woo pig suey as soon as they announced him coming here, and you realize, like in a relationship where you had like a really good partner, and then it ends, even if it's amicably, and you see them with someone else and they're acting exactly the same way, and you're like, oh, that person, that wasn't about me. This person's just a really good salesman. They know how to
Hmm.
get what they want. And Muss is a good marketer, and I'm not even saying that's a knock, but it does make you feel a little bit like, oh, you actually, when you were doing Pig Suey and you're doing Go, like, you don't give a shit. You're just, and I think that's fair to feel that way. You know what I mean? Although maybe it's not necessarily the case. You could feel it in the moment and then now feels differently. However, it still doesn't make it any, like, you feel like, okay, well, you're doing exactly the same thing. You're putting the same kind of Instagram posts out. This is just what you do. You're just a good marketer, and we were sort of sold a bill of goods as far as your level of commitment. And I think it's fair for people if they want to feel bad about that. And then I think the other with thing is, um I do think, and I don't understand this, like why there needs to be any animosity. And I mean, by the way, and this isn't unique to us. I've never seen a coach, I don't think, ever navigate this in the way that I think like every adult navigates every other job transition appropriately, which is if he wanted to go, I don't understand. Like I'm thinking about my own life, and if people that I work with, and it's like I would go to that person and say, listen, just I mean, even if it was just 2 weeks before, like when it's starting to go through your head, I know it's a weird there's some balancing there because you don't know that you can get the USC job. You don't want to piss off the current position, but that's all selfish stuff. You do have to make some sacrifices to have integrity. And I don't know why no coach can ever go to the athletic director and say, I want you to know I'm not really feeling 100% happy. I kind of want to get back to California. I want to get back to where my mother is. Um, and I know, I mean, I know it's hard to say, but I'm probably going to be looking for another job. And I know that's very dangerous because if you don't get that job, you're out of this job. But that is what the right thing to do would be to go to that person and
Or
let them
and then
know, be
maybe
like,
even and maybe once you get that job, maybe I know and look, this isn't unique to us. No one does this, but like, why can't you address the fan base with more than just a post, like, and explain it? Be honest
well,
and
that's
explain it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This whole get on a plane and go interview for the job when we all know you've already got the job. And like that's the first time anybody's hearing about it. I don't get that either. I don't know why you can do all the phone calls behind the scenes. You can lock it in, sign the paper, and then go have a press conference and be like, "Hey," and I think over time, Musk will be applauded when he walks into Bud Walton Arena someday. Um, I mean, it depends on what happens in the intervening, this next 5 years. Maybe not if if we go completely off the rails and are just the worst team, one of the worst teams in the SEC for the next 5 years, probably he won't. But if we manage to parlay the momentum that he got this program, by the way, we were real bad for a long time. And I mean, even though some of the Mike Anderson years were kind of fun, he could not make the tournament and enough. And if Muss had sat down though and been like, "Hey guys," just been honest, been like, "Listen, it's not a money thing. Cost of living out there is like friggin' literally 50% higher. He's going to have a worse he's probably going to have a worse house, a worse property, but like I said, there's obviously a lot of other advantages. There's a lot going on in California that's not going on in Arkansas. And so if he had just said, "Listen, my mother's out there, my heart's there, it's where I grew up. You guys understand. You grew up here, you love this place. I grew up there. I want the smell of the ocean, and I've loved my time here. Woo pigs. I'm going at like people would have freaking for sure appreciated it, and I think he would have never been booed here. He's going to get booed the first time he comes back here now because of the slightly, and like I said, it's not as bad as Lane Kiffin remember the way Lane Kiffin left a few jobs, but like it's the way everybody seems to leave, but I don't, it is always weird. It's always this on a plane in the middle of the night and you're just gone. And you know what I mean? Like I said, the athletic director seems like he wasn't
Well,
informed.
the reason you're like, that doesn't seem right is because it all looks sneaky. And I don't know why you're being so why like I said, everyone does it, but you're like, you're literally sneaking around. And when you have to sneak around, that's usually an implication that, like, are you doing the right thing? That if you have to be sneaky about it, I don't know. It's
Well,
um
and there is the reason people can be hurt too, and I think it's fair. And I'm not even saying, dude, I think most people would do this. We're all creatures of self-interest ultimately. And you are incentive based and you do things if there's big paychecks or something that you desire, you rationalize it and you maybe step on a few toes that you otherwise wouldn't. But that being said, the reason it's hurtful is because he is leaving us in a bad spot. I mean, better than he
mhm.
found it, but he's hurting us for the next year for his own self-interest. And what I
Yeah.
mean is the reason he's being like everyone is sneaky. I don't mean him because everyone does this, but the reason they're doing it is because he's not willing to risk some of his own possible, looking silly if he doesn't get the job, or being out a job for a length of time and having egg on his face. And so to protect his own ego, money, self-interest, players that he's going to take that he recruited, it's just easier to keep it hush hush and then
Yeah.
just go boom, there you go, and just leave the program behind that you left behind in shambles. Anyone that's broke up with a crazy girlfriend knows this. Like anybody who's ever texted a breakup, you know what you're doing. You know that's not right, and you're taking the coward's way out. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to have to look that person in the face and deal with those sobbing eyes. So you just go, I'm not really, everybody's done this, like just broke up in a note or an
I
email.
love you, but I'm not in love with you.
Yeah, like
It's not so it's not you, it's me.
yeah, so there's an element of it's just like we all have this in us. It's the kind of a coward's way out, and he gets to drive away with his new girlfriend while we sob alone into our pillow. And
I mean,
you do
one of
feel
the
a little bit like
dude, one of the great things though was that introductory press conference. It was good that all six of the USC fans came out to the what in the world? Like
I actually didn't watch
just
didn't
from the
know I didn't
jump,
watch it.
plane lands. There's like 11 people there. So I was like, yeah, well, there is that.
Oh, dude, don't get me wrong. Like I would say my attitude towards this is I am extremely grateful for what he did. Um, I guess I haven't ever said this on the pod. Probably I said this to you and like Kevin, but I'm still not 100% convinced, and I'm not saying I'm not convinced either. I'm still holding my powder on. I think there is a chance that Musselman is a good coach, but not as good a coach as his tournament performances would indicate to you. Because if you look at his overall record, and when we've been doing this podcast the whole time, and it's like he isn't doing what Nate Oates is doing at Alabama or what Bruce Pearl has been doing, where it's like you've got these teams that are just like juggernauts right off the bat, killing everybody, beating, scoring 100 points, beating teams, losing every once in a while, but like most, I mean, that's all teams.
That's partially probably because you're reinventing the roster every season.
Well, probably. And but our teams have been Musselman's teams have been helter skelter, win some, look dominant, get weird, lose a couple, eke your way into the tournament, like kind of actually generally have a little bit of a disappointing regular season.
Yeah,
Not
no,
disappointing.
everybody knows it. He like turns it up in February, dude. Like we start.
And right, but some of well, many of those like many of his tournament runs came down to a handful of Mr. Made shots. Devo Davis hitting a leaner in the paint to beat Kansas. Those are the kind of things where it's like, I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I'm just saying I said when there were rumors going around about him going, I'm like, I would rather him leave if his heart's not here than like us pay him an insane amount of money to keep a guy that actually his heart isn't really here. Because I think there's an odd chance that he's a good coach, but some of these Elite Eight runs and stuff were. I mean, it's like Gonzaga. You know what I mean? Like
I mean,
Gonzaga's.
he did take Nevada to the tournament several times. Went to the Sweet 16 with Nevada and stuff. I mean, you can obviously coach, but um, yeah, I know. I mean, I get what you're saying. It's
It's almost like in the tournament. It's almost like in the tournament.
I do think he's
It's
pretty good.
such.
I do think he does pretty good prep on a short schedule. Yeah, I think he does. I think he's a pretty elite game planner. I think that's why he does well in the tournament. Is that like I think he's better than most at coming up with a game plan in a hurry to
I think you're right about that. And
yeah.
I actually think that's another reason why people, when they start to hear that, you had one foot out the door part of the way through the season, start to feel disappointed because it makes you wonder, it's like, was that defense all those players, or were you not putting in the same amount of effort as you had been in the past?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you'll never know, but
Hmm.
it was conspicuous this year how much harder time they had guarding the other team's star player, which usually that was Musselman's calling card was like, whatever you're great at, we're gonna figure out
Yeah.
some way to stop that, and then maybe some teams beat us in a different way, make teams be versatile or whatever. But usually our scheme was like, oh, I see what you're doing. You're taking away this guy's jump shot or that guy's 3-pointer or that guy's right hand. We didn't see any of that this year. It was like
Yeah.
we didn't have a plan for anything. So I mean, I don't know, you can speculate about that, but at any rate, my attitude is I think Musselman's, I'm grateful to him overall. Uh, wished he had left a little better. Definitely, it's convenient that he's going to a team that I already despise in USC. Despise is a little strong, but a team that's easy to dislike, and
USC has a punchable face.
they have an obnoxious fan base. Um, I mean, just California people. But although I don't know, I don't feel weirdly UCLA annoys me less
Well, yeah, if
than
he left for UCLA, I'd
USC.
just be like, well, oh yeah. I mean,
They're the goat.
yeah, what are you gonna
Yeah, I mean,
do?
like they're the winningest college basketball team of all time, and and there's something about the way John Wooden did it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because John Wooden's like I mean, it's like he's like Krzyzewski. He's kind of also a guru or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. He's like immortalized as some kind of leader of young men and like
Mm-hmm.
changing their life and making them better people. So there's just something about that that's more like feels wholesome, whereas USC has a little bit of the kind of like Miami, where it's just a bunch of rich
Well, it's
California
back in the
surfer
day. It's
kids or whatever. I'm not saying that's true, but
Reggie Bush
that's
got his
the
Heisman taken away, dude, because a bunch of freaking cheaters over there. You know how it is.
yeah.
So, uh, well, that being said, so we don't make this forever long because I don't have forever long.
Gotta go
And
watch
most
Paper and
people are
Plane.
probably like, "Yeah, dude, we already know Muss is gone. We've moved past this. What we do? What's happening now? We got a freaking dumpster fire going on of
We
a
do have a dumpster fire. We
of
do
a
have that.
yeah, dude. So, two guys on the roster. That's a bad thing. Can't even talk about the roster at all because you don't have a coach. And so yesterday, the vast majority of people believe that Chris Beard would be the next coach of Arkansas. People locally, people nationally. Um, does seem as though he used that smoke to get a nice big fat raise, and he's going to stick it out in Oxford. And so, you know, which there's one scenario which if he did that for this reason, I think is actually good that Ole Miss gave him a job when no one else would, and maybe he's doesn't want to leave them after 1 year because that would be a kind of a crappy thing to do to somebody that did that for you. But I don't want to spend much time talking about Chris Beard because that's not going to happen. So there's not much point in talking about whether or not Hunter Yurich. You could speculate whether or not Hunter Yurachek blew that, was overconfident, all that stuff. I don't really care as much about that stuff and your Hunter Yurachek's video, and you can go to have people break that down for you if you want. But I think what you're looking at now is, are you gonna end up with somebody that you feel good about, or are you gonna end up in a Sam Pittman situation where you end up with a guy that everyone liked and like he made you feel good when he's accepting the job and he's crying and stuff, but like no one was like, yes, like nailed it. Um, I don't know. I mean, the names right now, it started out with three names, which was Beard, who's on the table, uh, and then Jerome Tang over at Kansas State, and Will Wade's name, which Will Wade, his name has not been coming up as much after that initial thing. It seems like and maybe that's just the pecking order, and so Tang is next up. Maybe he was maybe he's the second choice. Kansas State has offered him a contract extension at the time we are recording this. Arkansas might just be getting everyone paid. We might get like 11 guys paid before this is over. But
I mean, it happens every year when a halfway decent job comes open. Everybody does that. Every freaking halfway decent coach that has is on even close uses it to get their team to make their buyout higher and give them a little more money. So yeah, I mean that's not like it's. I mean we've done it before.
mhm.
We did it with Musselman
I
several
mean, and
times.
it could be that like, yeah, I mean, maybe your checks, maybe that was all smoke. Maybe it's all smoke screen. Like he's like, yeah, these guys, I'm dropping these names are floating out there. I'm letting it float out there. And you know, I got a guy. I know who it is, and I'm this is all a diversion so I can get this done. Maybe it's possible. I don't know who
I
that guy
think
would be, but
I think at this, I mean, not to belabor this because I know you need to go, but I mean, it's kind of an unfortunate time. I mean, half of like all things in life, with situations like this, a lot of it is comes down to timing, and I think we got some pretty bad timing. Old Miss had good timing. I mean, I mean, depending, we'll see. But if Chris Beard's as good a coach as he appears to be, he got fired for a non-basketball related thing and became they had to fire him, punched his lady, and Old Miss took a flyer. I mean, I'm not saying they're virtuous for that or whatever. You can have your own moral opinions about that, but they got a top dollar coach to their program that they would probably never have been able to sniff if he was in better circumstances. And that's just good luck. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's not good luck for Mr. Beard's spouse, but it's good luck for
Hey,
Old Miss. You know what I mean? One person's
she
punch in the
said she.
face is
Hey,
another
hey,
person's.
hey, man. She said he didn't do it. So allegedly, I mean, I'm trying to get sued here.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I think we got some kind of a little bit bad luck, like because there's not a lot of guys out there right now, and I pretty much think, I mean, unless Hunter Yurchek pulls out something much, I don't even know. Like I said, even if it's Will Wade or even the guys that everyone's talking about, I don't feel like it makes a huge difference. Arkansas is in a bad spot next year. They're in a spot where if we're going to have a good season, it's going to be shocking because it'll be you're going to have to recruit. You're likely not to get any of the top guys in the portal. You're going to get some of the guys on the periphery, and you better hope whoever we get to coaches his butt off and gets some gritty, hard nosed players that overperform. Because there's no reason to think the indicators that you, and by the way, these indicators aren't always clear. Like we saw last year, where you have great players and a great coach, and you have a bomb of a season. So that's nothing is certain, but we're not going to get, it doesn't appear, a coach that's just like, that's it, all right, he's got it, he's going to pull the recruits, he's going to get all the guys, and he's awesome. It's just not, it doesn't appear that it's in the cards. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, if you get
we're
if
not
you
getting Bobby Hurley here, we're not getting Chris Beard. So I mean, even if you get Will Wade, which I don't want Will Wade, I don't like the way I mean, he's a good coach, but I just don't like his personality. But that's doesn't matter. Will Wade go like a guy that got fired for impropriety, that went to a smaller school, getting hired at a school where a guy just left that had a bad season, and your cupboard is completely empty? Like, it's the same circumstance. You're gonna have to just hope
yeah,
that you get some freaking ballers that overperform,
yeah.
and
Well,
they might. I mean, that happens.
yeah, you might. I mean, so if you get if you did get Tang, you know, a guy like that is probably bringing a couple pieces with him. He's probably gonna it's gonna be it's gonna be like Muss just happened with Muss. What we had a transfer commit, decommitted. He's now committed to USC. Uh, this is a true thing that happened today too. The number 13 player in the portal, who is a point guard from Michigan, uh, Doug McDaniel, is that his name? Anyway, whatever it is. Uh, he is committed to Kansas State. Um, is he going to go to Kansas State if Jerome Tang comes here? I doubt it. Now, maybe he just reopens maybe he just jumps back in the portal, or maybe he follows Jerome Tang to Arkansas. That stuff like that can happen. He might have a player or two on his roster that just, as soon as he leaves, that just love him and are going to say, "I'm in the portal," and by in the portal, I mean I'm going to Arkansas. So
Mhm.
yeah, a guy like that probably brings something with him to build on, and then he's got to hit the portal and get a bunch of pieces. But yeah, you're right.
Dude,
There's nothing there.
I mean, I know, like I said, all it's a market, so everything's not just black and white on paper. A lot of it has to do with your family and where you like to be and where you're from and how you feel about the people around you. But if you can't get Kansas State's coach, I mean, I don't know what he's getting paid, but I cannot imagine that
It's
they
it
have the
is
kind of resource.
it's $2 million, but I don't know what his contract extension is, but right now he makes around $2 million.
I mean, but I'm just saying overall, Arkansas's got to have way better
Yeah, yeah,
resources,
for sure.
and this is all things being equal, dude. I've been to Kansas
You've been to
a
Manhattan,
lot,
Kansas?
and it's not that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so this, and I'm not knocking them. I mean, a lot of people will say the same thing about most of Arkansas, but I'm just saying it's not a, ooh, you've got the ocean, or ooh, you've got LA or whatever. It's like these are pretty similar situations, Midwest, like Southern. I mean, the climates. I mean, they're a little cooler.
Mhm.
I mean, there's just
Yeah,
not a lot of difference. So you got, if you can't get him, I mean, it might just be an indication that he really likes the people he's working with, but it is a little embarrassing.
it is. Yeah. Yeah, if all you do is get Kansas State's coach a contract extension, that's a bummer.
Mm.
Assuming that Hunter is actually going after him and is making an offer and he rejects it. I don't know. Nobody knows that that's true. Nobody
But
knows
we
that
do,
they
but we
there's
know the Chris Beard one's true.
that is true. That is true.
And
Uh,
Old Miss, like I said, that's a little embarrassing, but at the same time, it's hard to quit on a team that took a flyer on you after 1 year. I mean,
yeah.
like you said, in some ways, you're like, would I even do I want a guy that got fired from his last job for punching his wife and then quits on the team that took a flyer on him? I was like, I don't know if I want that guy anyway. But
I
I mean,
do want
obviously you
I
do.
really did want that guy. I gotta tell you
I
because
think he's a pretty good coach, but
well, it's not just that he's a pretty good coach. I like how he coaches. Like he's you and I are both defense first guys. That's what he is. Like he's just like a gritty.
not last night, dude. I was seven. I scored 7 of the 12.
Well, all right. I guess we'll leave it there. I don't know. Hopefully you didn't tune into this for like breaking news or like us to have some top secret information because we don't. But those are our thoughts. We will come back.
Yeah, we have
Uh,
whatever top secret information is on Twitter.
yeah, right. And which by the way, I'm not reporting any of that because not to be trusted. So yeah, man, we'll come back once we have a new coach.
We're all in this together.
That's it. All right. We'll see you, man.
See ya.